Today's gospel is very familiar. In fact, just about every funeral at St. Gerard has this as the gospel. This is John chapter 14, 1 through 6. Jesus said to his disciples, "Do not let your hearts be troubled. You have faith in God, have faith also in me. In my Father's house there are many dwelling places. If there were not, would I have told you that I'm going to prepare a place for you? And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back and take you to myself, so that where I am, you also may be. Where I'm going, you know the way." Thomas said to him, "Master, we do not know where you are going. How can we know the way?" Jesus said to him, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." This passage is just so comforting when one has lost a loved one. At least I find that. I don't know about you, but when I've lost someone that I love, I initially wonder, are they okay? Like, I just need to know that they're okay. Of course, I know in my brain that they're okay, but during this grief process, you kind of just need to know that in your heart too. And this gospel assures us that they're okay. God has prepared a place for them. There is enough room for each of us, and He is there waiting. And most importantly, He says, "Do not let your hearts be troubled." I just have to share this as well. I feel like this is kind of a God incident, not a coincidence, that I was randomly selected to reflect on this particular gospel for the day. Jeff kind of made a schedule of the staff, and I just happened to have this gospel. But aside from all the funerals I'm involved in, which we hear this gospel all the time, I kind of have a little history with this particular passage, and I'll share it. So if you caught my vocation story a few weeks ago, if you missed it and you're interested now, check it out on YouTube. Anyway, in part of my story I mentioned that the loss of my mentor, boss, and friend was like a major initial trigger to get me started in church ministry. And reflecting back, Judy was her name. She died on Friday, May 7th, 2004. And I remember the day like it was yesterday. I got the news in the middle of the night, and so of course I couldn't sleep. And I just got up and I just went into work super early. I didn't even take the time to read my little white book of, the prayers for Easter season and that. I just was so distraught. I just had to get to work. I had to work at her clinic with her staff so we could just be together in this grief that we were all feeling. So I did work that day. My heart was very troubled, of course, but the Lord got me through. He was at my side. So I got home and finally took a chance to reflect on the day, and I opened up my little white book, and guess what the gospel passage was? You got it. Do not let your hearts be troubled. It was this exact passage, John 14, 1 through 6. So of course that was something that became very special to me as helping in my grief process, and it continues to be. So, when I found out I had this gospel passage to reflect on today, you just know that the Lord's just speaking, and He's telling us to not let the trials of the pandemic trouble our hearts so much. So as many times as I've heard this gospel, and knowing these words are 2,000 years old, I am still profoundly touched that God never ceases to speak to us through His words when we need it the most. So my prayer for all of us, especially during these times of trial, is that we let the Word of God penetrate our hearts, calm our fears, and most of all, always remember Jesus' words, "Do not let your hearts be troubled. Have faith in God." God bless.